Last quarter, I got back 12 hours in my week, and I didn't hire anyone. I didn't add any new tools or automations or AI. I didn't even wake up earlier or optimize my morning routine. I just stopped doing things. And not just in my business, in my home life too. Because here's what no one talks about. As CEO parents, we aren't just running a business. We are also running a household. You're running a life, and there's stuff you're doing in all of those areas that doesn't need to be done. And you're doing it just because you've always done it. So today I'm gonna walk you through exactly what I cut, how I decided what to cut, and give you the framework so you can do the exact same thing in your business and in your home. I'm Lauren Apple, and I'm a scaling strategist for CEO parents. I help them build businesses that give them profit and presence, because you shouldn't have to choose. So let's get into it. Okay, so before I tell you about what I cut, I need to explain something. When most people feel overwhelmed, their brain goes straight to, I need help. Somebody else needs to do this. I need a VA. I need to delegate. I need to hire someone. And that might be true eventually. But here's what no one talks about. If you hire someone to help you do things that don't need to be done in the first place, you haven't solved the problem. You've just made it more expensive. You're now paying someone to do busy work, irrelevant work, and you're spending time managing someone who's doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing in the first place. That's not freedom. That's just a different kind of stuck. So before you add anything, before you hire anyone, before you buy any tool, before you implement any new system, you have to ask one question. Does this actually need to exist? This is what I call the remove step in my road framework. And almost everyone skips it. We don't like taking things away. They go straight to, how do I do this faster? Or how can I hand this off to someone else? But the most powerful question you can ask as a CEO parent is, should this be done at all? And this applies not only to our business, but it also applies to our home. Because CEO parents are running two operations, and both of them probably have stuff that needs to go. So let me tell you what I removed last quarter and how it saved me 12 hours a week. I'm gonna be really specific because I think examples help more than theory. And I'm gonna give you both business and home examples because there's real life for CEO parents. Number one, on the business side, I stopped taking networking introduction calls. For a while, I had this policy where if someone in my network wanted to introduce me to someone, I would always take the call. I built my business from the ground up by networking, connecting with individuals, having coffee chats all the time. And I never knew where my next client was going to come from. Relationships are everything. And so I said yes to every introduction. I was getting 10 to 12 intro emails, sometimes 15 a week. But here's the thing. Those were 30-minute calls. That's 4 to 6 hours a week just in networking calls. Plus the scheduling back and forth, plus sometimes they went over the 30 minutes, plus the mental energy of preparing for the conversations with strangers. Plus I always wanted to add value and connect them to other people. And so I would follow up on emails and I would spend time connecting them to my network. And then there's the context switching before and after calls, right? So when I actually looked at the data, you know how many of those calls turned into clients? Almost zero. They were lovely conversations, nice people, incredible people that I'm still in contact with, many of them, but they weren't leading anywhere in my business. And I was spending 4 to 6 hours a week on calls that felt productive, but weren't actually moving my business forward. So I stopped. I removed networking introduction calls entirely. Now, if someone wants to introduce me to someone, I have a few questions first. What's the context? Why do they think we should connect? Is this person actually in my target audience? And if it makes sense, instead of a call, I offer to connect via email or voice message first. But people introduce me to people who want my services now, not just people who want to get to know me. The ones that are actually a fit will turn into something. The ones that aren't won't waste either of our times. So that shift alone gave me back 4 to 6 hours. Sometimes it was even more than that a week. Number 2, on the home side, I stopped grocery shopping. And this was huge. Every week I was spending time making a list, driving to the store, walking around the store, waiting in line, sometimes with a toddler in hand, sometimes with multiple kids in hand, loading groceries, driving home, unloading groceries. Between planning, driving, shopping, and putting everything away, it was easily 2 hours plus every single week. And here's the thing. I can't stand grocery shopping. I can't stand it. I don't know about you, but I don't like it. It's not quality time. It's not relaxing. It's just a task that has to get done. So I switched to pickup and delivery. We have both options. I spend maybe 15 minutes putting in an order online. I have my items that are saved and starred on my favorite stores apps, and I plug them in that we need. I drive to the store on my way from pickup or drop off. They load it in my car, and I drive home and unload it. Or the beauty of spending a little extra with a tip is I get delivery to my home as well, and then my kids pick it up. It shows up at my door. That's 60 to 90 minutes back every single week, just from that one change. And if it didn't cost that much more, the pickup's free. The delivery fee is like $10 with a tip. We pay like $100 a year to get the plus services in the app so we can get delivery. So that's $10 an hour for an hour of my time. That math works. All right? So number 3, on the business side, I changed how I do LinkedIn. I used to wake up every morning and write a LinkedIn post from scratch, sit down with my coffee, stare at a blank screen, try to come up with something valuable to say, a story from this past week that was relevant to my audience. I'd write it, I'd edit it, I'd find the picture that should go well with it, and I post it. This was taking me 30 to 45 minutes every single morning, and it was mentally exhausting. Not to mention the times that I forgot until midday, and then it wasn't consistent. And so I was starting every day with the creative tasks that drained me before I even got to client work. So I changed my approach. Now I spend 45 minutes once every 2 weeks batching my LinkedIn content. I sit down, I get in the zone, I write all my posts for the next 2 weeks at once, and then every morning it takes me 5 minutes to copy and paste that post that I've already written, maybe tweak it slightly if I decide, grab the picture, and hit publish. 5 minutes instead of 30 to 45 minutes every morning. And it's focused. I know exactly what I'm doing, so I'm not context switching. I'm not getting distracted. I'm not spending extra time on LinkedIn digging into other people's things. That's 2 hours at minimum back a week, if not more. And honestly, my content is better now because I'm writing when I'm in a creative mode, not when I'm half awake and forcing it. Number 4, back to business. I finally updated my email templates. This is something I tell every single client to do. Create templates for the emails that you write consistently. We've had email templates in our business for years, but here's what happened. My business evolved, my offers changed, my language shifted, and my templates got stale, outdated, irrelevant. So instead of using them, I started writing emails from scratch again, because the template didn't quite fit anymore. I had transitions in virtual assistants. Other members of my team were transitioning to other roles that were not in my inbox. And so I got lost in translation. And so I'd open it, I'd realize it was outdated, I'd close it, or I'd spend time trying to find the template because there's all these old ones that need to get cleaned out, and I'd just write something new, which completely defeated the purpose. I was spending 15 to 20 minutes on emails that should have taken me 2 minutes, responding to inquiry questions, sending follow-ups, answering the same questions I get asked all the time. So I finally sat down and I updated everything. I looked at my sent folder from the last month, I found the emails I was writing repeatedly, and I created 5 new templates that actually matched my current business. So now when someone asks me about my coaching, I pull up the template. I personalize 2 lines and I send. 2 minutes instead of 15. And guess what? Now I have an EA that has started in my inbox this week. I'm so excited. So I don't even have to be spending that time anymore on that stuff either. When someone asks about direct to hire, it's the same thing. When someone wants to know my availability, it's the same thing. I have a template that pulls up. So I probably save 30 minutes to an hour every single week just from having templates that are actually current. And that's on the minimum side. It's probably a lot more than that. Here's the thing, your templates need maintenance. It's not set it and forget it type of thing. If you haven't looked at yours in 6 months, they're probably outdated. You need to look at them, or you need to have your assistant look at them. If they're outdated, you're not using them. And if you're not using them, you're wasting time. Or if you're using them and you're rewriting the entire thing without updating them, you're wasting time. That was number 4. Number 5, one of the things that I stopped doing, and this one is in both business and home, is I stopped making the same decisions every day. This one is about decision fatigue. It might be the most important thing I do. As a CEO and as a mom, I make a million decisions every single day. And it's many of the same decisions over and over again. What should I eat for breakfast? What should I wear today? What am I working on this morning? What's for dinner tonight? Who should I reach out to this week? Should I post on social media? What does that look like? These aren't big decisions, but they add up. When should I have my kids go to this event? How am I going to handle the childcare? How am I going to handle pickup and drop off this week? Who's doing school drop off and pickup? Research shows we make thousands of decisions every single day. And every decision uses mental energy, even the tiny ones. So by the time you get to the decisions that actually matter, the strategic ones, the creative ones, the ones that move your business forward, you are absolutely depleted. You've used up all your decision-making energy on breakfast and outfits and what's for dinner. So I started making what I call pre-decisions. Decisions I make once ahead of time so I don't have to make them every day. For food, we meal plan on Sunday. We have certain days of the week that are the same thing every time. The dinners are decided. I don't stand in the kitchen at 5 o'clock figuring out what we need to order. It's already decided. For breakfast, I eat the same thing almost every day. A cup of coffee with protein inside of it is boring, maybe, but I never think about it. It's already decided. Sometimes I throw in some microwave chicken sausages and eat that alongside of it. For clothes, I have a simplified wardrobe. I'm not standing in my closet for 10 minutes every morning. I grab something, it works, it's already decided. For my work, I plan my week on Sunday. When I sit down Monday morning, I don't have to think about what to work on. It's already decided. For connection, I have a list of people I'm nurturing relationships with. I don't wonder who should I reach out today. I look at the list, it's already decided. For content, I batch my content every 2 weeks. I don't wake up and think, what should I post? It's already decided. My emails are written almost a month to 6 weeks in advance. Every pre-decision I make removes a daily decision. And that mental energy adds up. I'm not exhausted by 2 p.m. from 1,000 tiny choices. I have energy left for the things that actually matter. For strategic thinking, for being present with my kids, for creative work. The goal isn't to eliminate all decisions. The goal is to stop making the same decision repeatedly. Make it once, then just execute. Add it all up. Networking calls, 4 to 6 hours a minimum per week. Grocery shopping, 1 to 1.5 hours, 2 hours minimum per week. LinkedIn batching, 2 hours per week. Email templates, 30 minutes to an hour per week. Pre-decisions, hard to qualify and quantify, but the mental energy saved is significant. So that's easily 10 to 12 hours a week, plus mental energy I can't even measure, just from removing things or doing them differently. Not delegating them, not automating them, not hiring anyone, just stopping or being more strategic. Now, here's what I want you to understand. None of those things were bad. Networking can build relationships. It's important. I still do a form of networking. Grocery shopping gets food in your house. It needs to be done. It has to be done. Daily LinkedIn posting can grow your audience. Writing personal emails can build connection. Making fresh decisions can feel spontaneous and aligned. But just because something can be valuable doesn't mean it is valuable. And just because something was valuable at one point in your business or your life doesn't mean it's still valuable today. Every single thing on your plate has a cost. Not just time, mental energy, decision fatigue, context switching, opportunity cost, what you're not doing because you're doing this instead. And most of us never audit that cost. We just keep adding and adding and adding in business and at home. And we wonder why we're so exhausted. So here's the framework I use with every single coaching client. I call it the Remove Audit. And we do it for business and home because you can't have margin in your life if you're only optimizing one side. We go through everything and I ask 5 questions. Question 1, does this need to exist at all? Not, is this good or could this be valuable? But does it need to exist? What would happen if you just stopped? Would anyone notice? Would anything break? You'd be amazed how many things fall into this category. In business, that weekly team meeting that could be an async update, that client deliverable you're always including but nobody asks for it, that social media platform you're maintaining out of guilt. At home, it could be things like that elaborate morning routine that stresses everyone out, that standard of homemade meals every single night, that expectation that the house always looks a certain way. Question 2, am I doing this because it works or because I've always done it? That's a big one, and one that so many of us are doing just out of habit. We stopped doing it at some point and maybe it worked at some time, and now we're still doing it years later without even questioning it. In business, that's strategies that worked at $50,000. They don't always work at $200,000. At home, it's the things that worked before kids might not work now. The standards you inherited from your parents might not fit your lifestyle or your children. Things change, but our habits don't automatically change with them. And then question 3, if I had to pay myself $500 an hour to do this, would I still do it? This reframes that decision. Most CEO parents dramatically undervalue their time. They'll spend 2 hours on something that saves them $50. But if you calculated your actual hourly rate or the hourly rate you want to have, would that math still work? Grocery shopping for 2 hours to save $10 on delivery fees? That math doesn't work. Driving across town to save $20 on something? That math doesn't work. Spending 45 minutes every morning on LinkedIn when you could batch it? That math doesn't work. Question 4, what would happen if I did this half as often? This is my favorite question. Most things don't need to be done as frequently as we think. In business, what if I sent that newsletter twice a month instead of weekly? What if I posted 3 times a week instead of 5? At home, what if I cleaned the bathrooms every 2 weeks instead of weekly? What if you did laundry twice a week instead of every day? Try cutting frequency before cutting entirely if that is a friction or tension point for you. You might find the results are almost identical. Question 5, is this actually my job? Sometimes we're doing things that were never our job in the first place. We just started doing them. And now everyone expects us to keep doing them. In business, that thing you volunteered for once and now it's your thing, that responsibility you took on that could be someone else's. At home, that mental load you're carrying around that your partner could share. That thing you do because it's just easier if I do it than delegate it to my kids. Does it actually have to be you? Let me tell you about a client named Rebecca. Rebecca came to me convinced she needed to hire 2 virtual assistants, executive assistants. Her business was successful. She was drowning. Obviously, she needed help. But when I asked her about her home life, she was drowning there too. She was doing everything herself: groceries, meal planning, scheduling, kids, activities, all of it. When we did the Remove Audit for business and home, here's what we found. In business, she was posting on 4 social media platforms. Her clients, they all came from 1. She was doing weekly video calls in every client, and most of her clients preferred async anyways. She was creating custom proposals that she was ghosted on anyways. And at home, she was grocery shopping every single week instead of doing it every other week. She was making dinners that her mom made when she was growing up. She had her kids in every single kid activity herself because she didn't want to burden her husband. By the time we finished the Remove Audit, we had eliminated 14 hours a week. 14 hours from business and home. She didn't need 2 executive assistants. She needed to stop doing things that didn't matter. Now she has 1 assistant, 20 hours a week, grocery delivery, simpler dinners, and a husband who manages half of the kids' stuff. And she's working less than she was before. Here's the truth. We glorify being busy. We glorify having full calendars. We glorify doing all the things. But productivity isn't about doing more things. It's about doing the right things. And you can't add the right things if your plate is full of the wrong things, in business or at home. Remove creates space. Space to think, space to rest, space to be present with your family, space to actually work on the things that move your business forward. You can't delegate your way to that space if you're delegating busy work. You have to remove first. So here's what I want you to do this week. Pick 2 things to remove. 1 from business, 1 from home. Just 1 each. Look at your calendar, look at your task list, look at your home responsibilities. Ask those 5 questions. What's 1 thing in your business that doesn't need to exist? What's 1 thing at home that doesn't need to exist or doesn't need to be done by you? And then stop doing it. See what happens. I bet nothing bad will happen. I bet nobody notices. I bet you just get time back. And once you see how that feels, you'll want to find more things. If you want help doing this and you want a thinking partner to look at your business and your life and help you see what you can't see, that's what my coaching is all about. I ask the questions you haven't thought to ask. I challenge the assumptions you didn't know you were making, and I help you remove what doesn't belong so you can build a business and a life that actually work together. Link to find out more is in the description below this video. And if you want more frameworks like this, I send stuff like this to my email list every single week. Real strategies, real stories, real talk for CEO parents who want both profit and presence, not just in business, but in life. Link for that is also in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We will catch you on the next one.